Yeah, okay, time to live free. Plenty goals I'm achieving. Some real life topics and talking financial freedom. Mindset, soul and love, everything in between. This is Freedom Podcast. Tune in, live free. Hey, got my mindset right and I got the drive. Planning one day, no more job, no more 9 to 5. Love, money, mind. Love, money, mind. This is freedom. Tune in, cause it's going down. Woo!
Hi, this is Anna and welcome to another episode of Your Freedom Podcast. In this episode, I interview Emmanuel Enime. Emmanuel's God-given purpose is to be a father to the fatherless. Part of being a father is to help prepare one's children for the difficulties of life. For those who do not have a father, Emmanuel is preparing them to thrive through the difficulties of life. Inspiring guy, you're going to be really excited with this episode.
Hi, Emmanuel. It's good to have you on the show. Hanging out in Croatia.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. And I know we were just sort of chatting before we went on air, I suppose, or went on record. And it's, you know, it sounds like you're a bit of a traveller, because I know you were in the US and you're now in Croatia. And I think that's what's great about being able to connect with people on Zoom, isn't it? We can connect globally to everybody. And I was just explaining why I put this podcast together, and it's around sharing our stories, because I feel that by sharing our journeys can really help other people. But I talk about these 3 pillars because it's a freedom podcast. I have freedom in love, which for me is all around self-care and self-love. Freedom in money, which is around financial freedom, because when I was struggling financially, it was, you know, my equilibrium was all a bit messed up, you know, and freedom in mind, because mindset, you know, and it's not about being positive 100% of the time, you know, every single day, but it's being able to flip or be able to work on things that, I suppose, not looking at the glass half full all the time, be able to, you know, digest things and be able to turn it into an opportunity rather than looking at the negative all the time. So freedom in love, self-care, freedom in money, financial freedom, and freedom in mind encompasses it all. And they were the 3 things that helped me get through a really difficult time, get through the other side, because when I wasn't looking out for myself and wasn't looking after myself, the balance wasn't there. Financially, and that wasn't there, the balance wasn't there. And mindset, when I was, I suppose, over-analysing things and looking too deep into the negative of things, that, you know, the balance wasn't there as well. So those are the 3 things that have really helped me in my journey get to where I need to get to. But it's a work in progress, you know. Things.
Okay.
We're always kind of working on things all the time.
So can I ask you a quick question? So how did you start to climb away from the negativity? Like, did you put any specific things into practice? Like, I mean, like simple things like, okay, I'm going to make a schedule, or I'm going to put my goals down on paper, or.
Yeah, so there's all sorts of different things. I did a lot of journaling. Because that was a way.
Okay.
That was a way to kind of like brain dump the thoughts a lot of the time. And I remember I used to.
Did you journal before this time, or you just started journaling?
But I used to, because I've always been in like the coaching space, I always used to help other people. It was a time for me to say, Anna, you now need to be doing this yourself. Because I used to just brain dump on paper, but then I also used to write down the things that I was really grateful for. Because I was at this point, I was in a real low. And I needed to, you know, I remember it was all about my children. That was the main things I was writing down at that point in time. And I realised by focusing on those things that I was grateful for, I was able to, I suppose I was able, if I'm really honest, I sometimes compare myself to other people, like, you know, at least I'm healthy, or I haven't got an unhealthy child, or, you know, like looking at other scenarios that other people could have. Not anyone in particular that I knew, but just like holding on to a lot of things that I was grateful for in that thing.
Grateful for it. You're
Yeah.
like, it could be worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
And then I've always been very good at processes and productivity and writing down things to be productive as regards to goals and things like that. But I think I probably did go back to the basics with that, because I think when there's a lot happening around you, it's like the fire around you, isn't it? To how you stay positive, really, and focused on what you're trying to do. I actually say that my business saved me in some respects, because I had that commitment to other people, within coaching. So, and I wasn't coaching, I wasn't like a life coach. I was obviously talking about skill set and knowledge about e-commerce and things like that. So having those commitments, it diverted a lot of it away from me. But then there was a time where I had to deal with a lot of the stuff myself, So yeah, it's all sort of been a journey, really. But one of the biggest things that I do is I do routines now. I think behaviours and routines really help. Like what we do first thing in the morning, and also in the evening as well. I do a lot of meditation, and I always have a bath, which I joke about to a lot of people, because if I don't have a bath, I feel like I've missed out. If I have a quick shower, I've missed out, because it's my wind down now. It's set,
Okay. Yeah.
Sometimes I end up listening to a room in Clubhouse and I tell myself off, because normally I'm listening to meditation track and I'm just completely switching off. But yeah, it helps me sort of wind down from the day and just clear your headspace, really, because it just a busy mind can wake you up at night, can't it? So it's important to have that good night's sleep.
Okay. So the things that helped you climb out were your journaling, having some commitments, in a sense, that kind of forced you to get up and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was going to talk about journaling, because that is a very important thing that people need to practice, and it's good because, as you've discussed, it helps clear that mind space. So say, for instance, you're trying to work on something, you're trying to resolve some sort of question. Maybe you have an existential question, or something. You're trying to resolve something. And so it's important to start writing, because you have to get some of your thoughts out of the way to get down to the essence of what is going on. And so a person should kind of look at their mind. If they have too many things on their mind, it's like having mental fog. And so that writing is kind of like an escape valve for the fog. And so this way you can get things out of the way and you can get down to the essence. Well, what's really going on? But there's another level of journaling that I absolutely love, and it's maybe the best way I can class it is street journaling.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm borrowing something from, what is his? He's a comedian. It is, I can't remember his name, but nonetheless. So you start out with the premise, so something that you've worked out. It's like, okay, this is something that is on my mind. I'm trying to figure it out, but I'm limited on paper as far as what I can figure out. And so then you go work it out on the street as you're talking to people, or as you're meeting and discussing with people. And so it helps you maybe clear up that premise, or potentially clear up a frustration that you just can't get down to the bottom of, because it's like I've reached a point, and I need interaction with other people to help me come more clear to this point. And so the fun thing about street journaling is this constant back and forth. It's like, okay, premise, I'm talking to people, I'm meeting strangers on the street, and then it's like, okay, things are a little bit clearer. Let me come back and figure some things out, and then let me test out this other premise that I got because of that conversation. And so this dance back and forth between the paper and the people. And so this is in part the reason why I was allowed to discover my purpose. And so now I'm able to come to the point of saying, my God-given purpose is to help you look more attractive, but not the person on the outside, the person on the inside, the real you, your character.
Yeah.
And so this journey, I tell you, this was this was just that, a journey. It was an adventure to finally get down to that point, to be able to make that short soundbite. To make that short soundbite, and thus far, everybody understands that statement. They're like, okay, all right, yeah, the person on the inside. And then I'm able to, if I need to discuss it, then I can explain a little bit more. And so you talked about facing difficulties in life and difficult times. And so when the person on the inside becomes more and more attractive, the reason and the why that person should become more attractive is specifically to help them go through the difficult times with joy.
Yeah.
And so, because the difficult times, it's built into this life. It's nobody's going to escape it.
Exactly.
So it's built into this life. And so I'll speak in a parable here, and this is the best way people can understand. It's like, this life is a game, and built into this game called life is tragedy and difficulty.
Yeah. Definitely.
And so when you know that, then the wise thing is, okay, well, let me prepare myself to handle tragedy and difficulty. So this way, when I go through it, and that's the hopeful mindset, hey, I'm going to go through this. And not only am I going to go through this, but I'm going to be perfected in the process. Because, and I'll say, it's called, from the Bible, it's called a wilderness experience. So you're going through the wilderness, and it's tough times, scarcity. It's difficult, but in that wilderness experience, this is where God refines a person. And it also helps, as one person says, it helps build grit. And so it's like, with that experience, then hey, you know what? Next difficult time comes, I'm gonna stay hopeful. And I also learned something practical. I'm gonna keep my schedule, because that was crucial in the last difficult time. And then I know the journaling helped me in that last time. So it's like, hey, this next time I'm in a journal. I'm going to keep my schedule. I'm going to keep.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting because obviously everybody's had. Everybody has had different challenges. Some have had more traumatic than others. Some have just gone through a difficult time. Some have had really bad pain, and and I've noticed that on different people that I've met, and we've shared stories and things like that. But one thing that everybody's agreed with is that once you've gone through a challenging time, it really does gear you up for anything else. And there have been things that have happened to me since, and it just felt like a breeze in the park. You know what I mean? Because I was, now they weren't anything that was as bad, but there were a few things that have happened. And just like everyday challenges that I used to get a little bit stressed about, now just go over my head. Like I don't even waste any energy on it. Like the one example was my car got, the tyre got a puncture on my car. And, like I was always used to be like this busy person. I've got to get to that. I'd be stressed. I'm like, oh my God, I can't. And all this, yeah. And I remember I was on the phone to my mum at the time, and she was doing that. Like, oh my God, what are you going to do? Because I was like outside the school getting my boys. I think I did have a meeting that I had, in my diary, and I was all like, oh God, Anyway, I said to the boys, let's go for a walk. Let's go to the shop. We'll get some sweets. And they were like, oh yeah. And by the time we come back, the guy will be here, I'm sure, to get the car, and it'll all be sorted. It was a nice day. Let's enjoy the day. And my mum kept ringing me. Have you left yet? I was like, no, we're just at the shop and all that. We came back, and it was, as I said, the guy just got there. He was fixing the tyre. He was about 15 minutes, all job done. And my boys, my eldest, was like, why were you? He was so relaxed. He was so relaxed. And Grandma was all stressed out. And I was like, yeah, but I said, what is the point? There's always a solution. There's always a solution. I knew the solution was we needed someone to fix, because I can't do it. I knew we needed someone to fix it. We'd already rung him. He'd said half an hour. Well, rather than sit worriedly around the car and stressing about the car, let's just go off and have a bit of fun and use it as a moment to spend more time together, type of thing. And they were laughing. I was hoping that they would learn something from that, because I could feel that they were all in panic, because it was like an unexpected thing. And that's a lot of the time it is something that interrupts you, isn't it? Something happens, we feel it's to us, and it's like this unexpected thing that we have to break down. But I definitely think, it's helped me by going through things, because yes, there will be other things in the future, because like you say, that's life. We're always going to have things, but it's how we can sort of deal with it, and how you can get through it. I think the hardest part for me, because my whole story was, I was in a really abusive, violent marriage, and I got out of that marriage, but I knew that by getting out of it, I could possibly have what came. And then then the fear broke through, because I did get what came. I knew that he would give me problems for a long time. He wouldn't take it as the relationship was over. And it ended up with, I had to go through a harassment case. There was 33 court hearings. So over a sort of 4 or 5 year period, there was this constant looking over your shoulder, not being able to just get on with your life, legalities, litigation, going to court, all of this kind of stuff. And it was, to be honest, it was all of that stuff afterwards that was worse than the stuff that happened in the relationship, if you know what I mean. Because it was this kind of thing of, I'm not free yet to get on with my life, because there's still this, I'm in this system, and the whole court hearings you get, there's worry leading up to it and afterwards and all that kind of stuff. So I used a lot of these things to get through that moment in time. I was like, this isn't going away anytime soon, and I need to get my big girl pants on and face this and stop hiding away from it and deal with it. But at the same time, I need to take care of myself throughout this journey, So it also, spending a lot of time on yourself, like I spent a lot of time allowing myself to get upset, because I think I was always a person that was like, no, I'm fine. when actually I wasn't fine. I think you discover characters about yourself that you like and you don't like when you spend time on your own. So that allowed me to just be as well, you know, and not be ashamed of this story as well, ashamed of this journey, and just be me, be unapologetically me, as I say, really.
and so it's, yeah, I mean, as you're talking and as I know uh, other people's life experiences, and I know that that things are upcoming for our future, like I mean, coronavirus or another potential pandemic. And so this is where the wisdom comes in. Well, prepare yourself, prepare your character for that, because then this way you can also help others, like you said with your kids. That's a lesson that they picked up. Okay, mom's calm. Okay, well, this is something that I need to put into practice next time I go through a situation where I have the potential to worry and to panic.
Yeah.
And so, but there are like specific things that a person can do. And well, it also comes down to uh, authorization by God as well. Like, for example, one thing that, well, this is one character training exercise that I'll say the first one I plan to offer, and that is singing in public.
Okay, I love that.
And so, and so part of the reason why this is a good training exercise for people is, well, it helps one build and courage, but then it also helps one not stress about what other people are thinking about you. And so, but that's a big one,
Yeah.
because what happens sometimes is that gets, if a person worries too much about, well, what is this other person going to think, or what are they going to think, then that can get incorporated into a person's plans. And so maybe someone went and bought a car that was out of their budget because they were worried about what their neighbors would think about them if they got a bicycle. And this applies to multiple things in a person's life, even marriage, where people, I got to hurry up and get married, because if people see that I'm not married, then they're going to look down on me in a sense. And so there are other things built into that training exercise, singing in public, but that's one of those very important things that, as I've been talking to people about it, is to point out, hey, it's risky to worry about what other people are thinking about you, and part of that risk is you can incorporate it into your plans in life, small plans, big plans, in decisions in life. And so it's important to get over that, because if you start out with a bad plan or a bad reason for a plan, then you're going to run into problems all along the way, because at the root of your plan, at the foundation of that plan is a bad premise.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, yeah, and so I guess I'll tie in street journaling back into this. And so this is why it's important for people to work out their plans with other people, and to get good counsel and advice from other people. So this way, you might think, for example, a person might think, hey, this is a good idea, and they start to move forward with it. But if it's a big decision, an important decision, not, hey, which which soft drink should I buy from the store today, but it's like, hey, well, which car should I buy? And this car is something that I'm going to need for the next 5 to 10 years. And so for certain big decisions, it's important to have that contact with other people, that advice, and that counsel. So this way, you guys can help each other clean up the foundation of a plan. And so this way, like, your counselor might, and it's important to challenge people as well. Your counselor might say, well, why do you want that car? Like, what's the reason? And so that question could be a challenging question. And as a person explores themselves, and as the counselor is exploring them. So the person says, oh, I like the color blue. And then the counselor says, okay, well, why not that other blue car? And so you keep going, why? And it's important to do this. This can cause some people frustration if someone is asking them why, but it's an important thing, because this way you can get down to the bottom of why you're doing something. Yeah, and so get down to the very bottom, because if the very base reason why you're doing something is unstable, everything you build on that reason is going to be is going to be unstable.
It kind of links into things like limiting beliefs as well, doesn't it? Because, like you mentioned about if you're about the singing in the street or the singing in public, basing things on what other people think of yourself, or like you're saying about buying decisions on buying a car and things like that. That there's usually, you find that there's some kind of limited belief or something that needs rewiring.
Can you explain limiting beliefs? Because I've heard that term, but
So there can be, usually there's a belief that's been instilled, maybe even from a child, or an experience that has happened. So maybe someone, let's give an example as a child. In fact, I did this exercise because I've trained to be a belief coding facilitator.
Is this an example? A man shouldn't cry. Is that a limiting belief?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, but there can be things and experiences that got in your way that make you feel a certain way, if you know what I mean, that we're unaware about, because it's in our subconscious. Because every life experience, it could be a parent, it's usually a parent or teacher that says something to you when you're younger. And then when you're older, it can be someone at work or someone that you work with or a partner that can, prevent you then having these different beliefs. And so it links quite in with what you're saying as regards to because usually when people where they're worried about what someone else is going to think of them, it usually comes back to a limited belief. And it's funny you said that about, you were saying about singing in the street, because when I was going through my challenging time, having the police at my door, believe it or not, for nearly every day for a period of time, I was always worried that neighbours would think I was a criminal, when actually it's because I was going through a challenging time. And I can laugh about it and look back at it now. It became that I didn't really care what people thought about me because there was stuff that I needed to sort out. And in a way, I thanked my ex-husband through this. This is one of my things that I was grateful for, because I thought he's allowed me now to not be bothered what my neighbours are thinking, because it happened that often. It became a normal, you know, and it was like he'd forced me in a way to not really care what my neighbours thought. And I thought, actually, that's a really good thing, you know, like, because I was like full of embarrassment at one stage. And then it was like, well, actually, the bigger thing here is me, my safety, my children, and who cares what people think, you know what I mean? And it kind of forced me to go through that. I would have preferred to have sung in the street, I think, because I think that's a lot more exacerbating and kind of a bit more fun exercise to do. But it's also helped me be a bit more unstoppable with things like sharing video or going live online. You know, some people are a bit like, oh, what people think of me. And I think sometimes the experiences you go through. So I think anything like that, anything where there was a quote I'd seen recently about how, why is it we're bothered about what other people think about ourselves when we don't even love ourselves? And I thought, isn't that, it was a better written quote than that, but that's basically what it meant. It was like, we're more bothered about what other people think of us that stop us from doing stuff. But actually deep down, we don't even love ourselves with a lot of things, you know. And I thought it's so true. So the singing, the singing in public, is that something you arrange as an event or you advise people to do? Because I think that'd be a great exercise to get.
So this is something, as far as my, because the plan is just, or maybe I should say the seed of the idea has just landed. And so the exact plan, I haven't worked that out on paper yet, but my plan is to, hey, invite people through my Instagram and say, because some of my Instagram followers are here in Zagreb. And so, hey, come down to the main square. And I sing in the main square. I'd say probably about every other Sunday, and I'm singing at a pretty high volume. But I guess let me add this piece. It's important not to worry about what other people say or think about you, but it's still important to get their opinions if in some situations, because they can see things, or other people can see things about you that sometimes you've become so used to. And so I'm still a big fan of the opinions of others and the judgments of others, because then this way it's like, okay, well, what are they seeing that I'm not seeing? Maybe their opinion or judgment is off, or maybe it's not off. And so I'm still incorporating that. I'm not gonna, I should say, I strive to not let it
hold you back,
block my mind, right, and cause issues with my ability to focus on my mission. But I'm incorporating those negative. It could be extremely negative, but I'm trying to sort through and find out, okay, is there something there? Is there something in what they said that I can find that maybe I do need to improve on? And so there comes this balance that one needs. It's like, don't let it overwhelm your mind, but hear other people out, because they might have some nugget that you need to move forward. And I'm a Christian preacher, and I have, in conversations with people who are atheists, don't believe, or are angry with God. I've gotten things from those conversations that were absolutely absolutely necessary. So it comes down to a balance between and having the forgiveness as well, to be able to take a harsh critique or any critique from from someone you know or someone you don't know, um, and and then try and find out, okay, what should I do with this? Maybe, like, for example, if someone says, oh, you said it wrong, you're supposed to first say baby sharka doo 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 doo. It's not mama shark first, it's baby shark. That's one of the songs that I sing. But I mean, it's important to hear and see, like, okay, all right, I got that. I got that, and let me incorporate that moving forward. Or it's like, or let me see if someone else has that same opinion as well. And so and so kind of almost, it's also important to seek opinions from strangers as well, because if you find that a million people are saying that, oh wow, you have a really great voice, and they're all strangers, likely you have a very great voice, because like all of these people are recognizing this in you.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. So as regards to being the character coach, for people who are listening to this, I'm thinking this Emmanuel intrigues me. You know, he's doing his singing in public. He sings Baby Shark. He's been talking about journaling and street journaling, and you know, how can they kind of connect with you, and how can you help people that could be listening to this episode?
So right now, people can find me on Instagram, and I don't know if I sent that to you, but
yeah,
so
it'll probably be on the form. We asked for social, so we'll put that in the comment section for people listening.
Okay, beautiful. And so right now, I am focused on helping people understand fundamentals of tools that they need to use in order to play this game called life. And so, for example, forgiveness, that's one of those fundamentals a person needs to understand and then to put into practice. And so that's what I'm focused on my Instagram, is helping people understand, hey, these are fundamentals. And I'll also say this in regards to character coaching, or just in regards to character in general, where people need to get their mindset. It needs to be aiming for the pinnacle of personal development, the pinnacle of character development. And once you know the pinnacle, once you know that one point that you should be aiming for, then this makes a person more effective and efficient in the process. And so the pinnacle being, I am going to keep doing my God-given mission, no matter what gets in my way. And I am going to do it with joy and not falling into temptation until the last drop of blood exits my body. I'm going to keep moving forward. And I also know that there is the potential that everyone around me, especially my family, they might turn their backs on me and I might be alone, but I got to keep moving forward because I got to help other people. And so that is the pinnacle. And
Yeah.
so once you understand that pinnacle, then it's like, okay, then it's easier to understand how something like pride can hold you back from effectively performing your mission. Like,
Yeah.
for example, a person who's prideful, they're not going to ask for help, but you're going to need help on your journey.
Exactly.
And so with that said, once you know the pinnacle, then it becomes easier for a person to say, okay, then I understand why I should not do this, or I understand why I should have a schedule, or I understand why I should have that unwind time in the evening. Because rest is also part of character training, like rest and relaxation. That's also part of it. And a lot of people in the Western world work too much, and part of that is sometimes people believe that their self-worth is tied into or their work is a reflection of their self-worth.
Work hard and all this kind of stuff that they
and so that's an example of one of those limiting beliefs. It's like they put that at the basis of a plan, and so it's like work. It's like, oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Your work is not you. You need to disconnect the two, because you're going to keep working on this thing, trying to get maybe something perfect. And it's going to drive you crazy, because it's like, if someone sees that this is not perfect, then they're going to look at me and think that I'm not perfect. And it's like, you got to disconnect the two. I'm not saying do a bad job.
No, I agree.
Yeah. And once you disconnect the two, then you're going to become more effective at your job, at your work, at your God-given mission. And so, yeah, it's a lot of things involved, many things involved, but I am super, super hopeful for people. And it's also important that, and so I advise parents as well, start early with your kids. Start early, preparing their characters to handle the difficult times. Because then this way, imagine your kid understands, hey, I need to have courage in life, and they can get rid of majority of the fearful thoughts that a lot of people experience. All of those fearful thoughts that people experience in life, it makes them ineffective in regards to their God-given mission. And so it's like, because your mind is so focused on those fearful thoughts. And so this is why it's good to train the kids early, because then this way, the belief pattern that they build just in focused on courage is, I'm going to be courageous, and I'm going to move forward. And so a lot of that ineffectiveness that plagues a person because of fearful thoughts, that kid doesn't really have to deal with that through their life.
Yeah.
Because they learned early, hey, be courageous. Don't let the fearful thoughts take over your mind.
Yeah. No, it's funny how children are like sponges as well to the environment they're in, absorbing everything. But it's also quite interesting how they, like, I've often thought, like my two are getting to the age now where they're teenagers. Well, the oldest one is a teenager. It's a bit uncool to not like the things that your mum likes, or so I'll talk about my online world and Amazon and things like that. And it's like, oh no, I'm not really interested in that because that's your thing. You know? But it's surprising the subconscious things that they learn and how they end up. I hear them have conversations with other people, you know, and then I realise they are taking things in around mindset and also the skills around, you know, e-commerce and things like that, because they repeat things that I've said to them before. You know what I mean? Like
No, I understand. Yeah, I understand.
If I said, and this isn't my character anyway to say, right, this is what you do. I don't kind of go in it like that. But if I go, hey, I've seen this really cool idea, and I'm like, oh, is that to do your work? And I'll go, yeah, and then they won't be interested. But then what I'm saying is I overhear things and I realised, you know, I have these little phrases, you know, even if it's like work hard, play hard is my thing. Work hard, play hard. You're going to have your fun. But also it's not all about fun. It's not all about working hard. You know what I mean? And so we always have this thing on a Friday where we have a treat because of work hard, play hard. And I hear them repeating different things, you know what I mean? It's just funny. And they are like sponges, really. So it's true about the environment that they're in. And that's been one thing that I've really wanted them to have, like a really peaceful, nurturing kind of environment to help them grow and, you know.
Throw them in the deep end.
Well, we were before I saved her. But you know, yeah, I agree to some extent. But what I mean is, when you're living in a life of, you're going to be living in an environment of chaos, which was our old world, where there was a lot of shouting and arguing and all. It's not. That's like you said, that's a fear environment, isn't it?
And yeah, people can soak that in as well.
Exactly, yeah. And become like little mini, you know, angry people. You know what I mean? Because you know this from the character stuff. Because the opposite of anger is, what's the opposite of anger? The opposite. There's all opposites of anger.
Happiness, joy,
exactly.
Peace of mind. Yeah.
So, okay, so we're going to put all your details in the comment section. So whether you're listening on iTunes, you'll be able to see it in the comment section. If you're watching us on YouTube, you'll also be able to see it in the comments bit. So if you want to reach out to Emmanuel, I always ask people, what does freedom mean to you? Because I think this is a really interesting question. And with it being the Freedom Podcast as well, it links so well. But it means different things to different people. So, Emmanuel, what does freedom mean to you?
Having the ability to pick up a snack on Friday evening after a good week of work. Yeah, that ability to say, hey, you know what? I earned it. Yeah. Let me get a nice snack. My week was good, and a lot of good things happened. Made it through some tough experiences. It was good, and so for me, that's
like work hard, play hard. We always go for a snack on a Friday, the end of the week.
Yeah, it's good to relax, to get that in there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is really important because I think, like you said before, there's a lot of people that are just constant they think that the whole life has to be work because they think that it signifies something, you know, that they are, you know, it's instilled, like you say, it's a belief, isn't it, that they've got to graft, they've got to work. But 24 hours a day is far too much. And it is good to reflect at the end of the week about how that week's gone and what you've done, and also reward yourself as well for getting through the week, you know? It's like, hey, I've got through the week. So, yeah, it's been great to have you on the show. I don't know if there's anything that you want to share that we haven't covered before we round up. Is there anything you want to tell listeners?
I think we've said a lot, and we talked about we hit a lot in just a few minutes. So let me not overwhelm people But yeah, it was a pleasure to chat. Happy to hear from you,
Great to have
and and keep pushing, keep striving.
Yeah, and I will, anybody that's listening to Emmanuel, obviously all his contact details will be in the comment section. I just want to personally thank him for his time, for sharing his wise words and his knowledge. Yeah, it's great to connect with you, so stay in touch if I can help you in any way.
Oh, I guess I can say one thing. That's not marble behind her.
No,
That's
this is
what.
not marble. We identified that at the beginning. Yeah, I just want to look like I'm in a marble room.
Yeah, that would be nice. Maybe one day, you'll have a nice marble.
Although I've heard marble's cold, this is nice and warm,
Okay, all right, fair enough.
All right, great, Emmanuel. Thanks for coming on the show,
Okay.
and stay in touch. I'll speak to you soon.
All right.
Then.
Ciao, ma'am.
Bye.
All right. Ciao.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Your Freedom Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes and subscribe on my YouTube channel. And if you want to get more freedom in your life, then come and join Your Freedom Project Facebook group, which the link is below in the comments section. And I am giving you a copy of my visualization manifesting book. So manifest more freedom in your life and live the life of your dreams.
Hey, thank you for listening. Hope you had a blast. Here to elevate your life. It's the Freedom Podcast. Love, money, mine. Love, money, mine. Wanna see you all win. Wanna see you all shine. Just make sure that you subscribe. Bringing good vibes. Join the Facebook group. Now it's time to change your life. Hope you come back. Right now is the chance. This is an experience. It's the Freedom Podcast. Hey.